Hello again, I am Blunty, poking around the floor at E3. Well, technically I'm sitting at my desk recording a voiceover for material I recorded while I was poking around on the floor of E3, but, you know, let's just pretend this is all one seamless production. Anyway, there were some controllers that caught my eye at E3. Controllers, gamepads, joysticks, they're our physical connection to a game, the tactile link between intent and action. They're pretty important if you ask me, and if you're like me, you spend a not insignificant amount of time with your hands gripped around a few different kinds. So having good ones is pretty important. Now, for mouse and keyboard PC players, there really wasn't much on display as far as that stuff went at E3, but I did spot this which I liked, which is the Cougar Vantar. It's a low profile, basically a laptop style deck with chiclet style keys, and while not for everyone, especially when it comes to games, I do kinda like it. I spend a lot of time typing on my MacBook, so I'm quite used to that type of keyboard. I also kinda dig the RGB border around it as well. I may pick one up actually. Hyperkin recently launched their recreation of the classic original Xbox controller called the Duke. Possibly Duke. Duke? Duke. Duke? Duke. Which one do you say? Anyway, famous basically solely for being enormous and unwieldy, and with Hyperkin's recreation adding a flashy little animated logo screen, it's apparently been pretty popular and selling quite well for them, either for novelty's sake or nostalgia's sake, or gamers who just genuinely prefer its broad, big layout and self-generation gravitational field. That's not an invalid opinion. I do know some gamers who really did like that controller. But coming soon, a much more attractive option, a variant, new models coming in with translucent colours. And while I was interested in the original launch, I never did splash down the cash for one or anything like that. It was just, But I do like the colour. I think that's just novelty enough to get me to try one out. It's vapid and vain and a stupid reason to buy one, but come on, look at them. Don't they look lovely? Hyperkin also had a modified version of the very first video game controller I ever used, the joystick for the Atari 2600. It goes with their upcoming Retron 77 system, which will spit out Atari games from cartridge or from, let's call it homebrew, over modern HDMI for a bit of classic retro game time on screens we still own. I really want to get one of these. It speaks to my heritage as a gamer. It is the first system I ever played video games on. So well done, Hyperkin. Nostalgia got me again. They've modified the stick design to be ambidextrous as well by adding a second button on the other top corner, so southpaws rejoice. Otherwise, outside of the top paneling and a bit of design squiddling, it's a reasonably faithful recreation of the original stick. Which, I will warn you now, the original stick was never really that good at being a video game controller. Still at Hyperkin, their new classic design Bluetooth controllers were on show with adapters to be able to use them on their original plugs. Moving along to something thoroughly more modern though, the Scuf Vantage. Scuf Gaming's newly announced, and as yet unreleased, although you can pre-order it, new controller for PlayStation 4. I was instantly attracted to the offset sticks, as I've always really preferred that over Sony's usual low and close-mounted symmetrical sticks. It also has two removable and reprogrammable side buttons. Scuf's usual 4 back paddles are also there. They can be remapped to any face button you like. There's a touch bar on the bottom edge of the controller for quick tap to mute your mic, a removable magnetic faceplate, interchangeable convex or concave thumbsticks. Hooray for that. That's one of my favourite things about their controllers, being able to switch out those. Because you do really like one or the other, don't you? And of course, as you can see, a lot of options for colour and style, including at this stage the basically inevitable Fortnite branded one.
So it's a little tricky to get the feel of the little pedals back here because of the way they've got it mounted and this very aggressive electric strap pulling it back to the desk, but the pedals feel like the pedals are very, very highly clicky. You won't be able to hear it across the microphone and across this background noise at the event, but yeah, the sticks, the range of movement feels good. They feel a bit low. I don't feel like they're as tall as the regular ones, but very, very grippy at least, and they feel really smooth. D-pad is super clicky. I mean, not noisy clicky, but there's a definitely tactility there that I quite like. Touchpad feels like touchpad, those feel like touchpad. And the buttons are slightly on the spongy side, especially compared to the D-pad there. But, they've got a little bit of tactility to them. I think I'd prefer a little bit more, but yeah, if what you want is a PlayStation 4 controller with the offset thumbsticks for you, I think there are worse ways to go. I might see if I can get hands on one and give it a proper review. Elsewhere in controllers we have this, which is the Quick Shot from Bionic with their custom grip system with 2-position trigger lock right there as well. I mean, it feels really nice. It does, you know, it's got that sort of grippy texture to it, but it doesn't feel sticky or anything. It feels good in the hands. And on the PlayStation side of things, Bionic again have the custom trigger stop with grip textures as well, which, you know what? The PlayStation 4 does need these. We all know it. The triggers on the PlayStation 4 are just not as good as they could be, but I don't know what... Oh, actually no. If they fall off while you're trying to play, maybe they're not so great. Let me get that back on there. Yeah, okay, maybe not. Maybe not those. Maybe not those. They kind of fell off in my hands when I was trying to play it there, so...
DisplayLink, the company whose chips are powering HTC's upcoming official wireless adapter for the Vive Pro and Vive VR headsets, were catching eyes with a giant wireless VR Gatling gun controller. I don't think they're going to market and sell this thing, talk about your edge case products, but it was a pretty fun gimmick to catch the eyes of passerbys. But I gotta say, as far as practicality and usefulness and general need versus want calculations, the Scuff Vantage is for me. I think I need to get one. I really only use my PS4 system for exclusives these days, so it doesn't get nearly the amount of use as my Switch Pro controller or the Xbox controller I've got hooked up to my PC. But a lot of these PS4 exclusives are must-plays, aren't they? And this thing does feel really nice. Much nicer in my big hands than the standard DualShock, and as I said, I've always had a strong preference for the better spaced and asymmetrical thumbstick layout. The last time I reviewed a Scuff controller though, also for the PS4, but the one with the standard layout, there was a lot of, let's call it passionate reactions. It seems Scuff is a loved or hated brand. So what do you think of this one? Thanks for watching, I am Blunty, and I'll catch you next time.